Prompt engineering for teachers and trainers. Genre: education and reference. Target audience: K-12 educators, university faculty, corporate trainers, instructional designers. Style: practical, reference, instructional, visual heavy, action-oriented. What if teaching didn't mean working harder, but working smarter? This book is your guide to teaching in the age of artificial intelligence, not as a replacement, but as a powerful co-pilot. You will learn how to design high-quality educational materials in minutes instead of hours. Lessons, worksheets, job aids, and real-world learning scenarios that truly engage learners. You will discover how to move beyond the red pen. Using AI for smarter assessment, clearer feedback, and fair, consistent grading that supports learning, not just evaluation. You'll explore gamification and active learning, turning classrooms and training rooms into environments where curiosity drives participation and motivation stays high. You will learn how to visualize complex ideas using images, diagrams, and multimodal prompts to make abstract concepts clear, memorable, and accessible to everyone. This book shows you how to apply these ideas in schools, universities, and corporate training environments, from the boardroom to the break room, and just as importantly, you'll learn how to navigate the ethical responsibilities of using AI with integrity, transparency, and professional judgment. This is not a book about tools, it is a book about teaching better, thinking deeper, and building a future-ready teaching practice with you firmly in control. This is what you will learn from this book. The AI Co-Pilot, Redefining the Role of the Educator. Chapter 1, The AI Co-Pilot, Redefining the Role of the Educator. Section 1.1, The Paradigm Shift in Pedagogy and Training. Section 1.2, Moving from Fear to Empowerment. Section 1.3, The Human in the Loop Philosophy. Section 1.4, Identifying Your AI Teaching Assistant. Section 1.5, Establishing Ethical Guardrails Early. Education has always been an evolving landscape, but we are currently standing on the precipice of a transformation that rivals the invention of the printing press. For decades, we have operated under the model of the educator as the primary source of knowledge, the sage on the stage. However, the sheer volume of administrative tasks, the demand for personalized instruction, and the rapid pace of information updates have made this model unsustainable. This is where artificial intelligence enters the narrative, not as a replacement, but as a powerful capabilities multiplier. In this chapter, we will explore what it means to adopt an AI co-pilot mindset. We will dismantle the fears surrounding automation and replace them with a framework for strategic partnership. By the end of these pages, you will understand how to remain the captain of your classroom or training hall while letting AI handle the heavy lifting of navigation and logistics. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen comparison. On the left, a tired teacher is buried under papers with a clock showing late night, labeled traditional model. On the right, the same teacher is engaging with students while a glowing digital interface handles the paperwork, labeled AI co-pilot model. Style: isometric 3D, clean vector art, soft blue and orange lighting, white background. Section 1.1, The Paradigm Shift in Pedagogy and Training. For too long, teachers and trainers have been asked to play an impossible number of roles simultaneously: content expert, curriculum designer, administrator, counselor, data analyst, and entertainer. The cognitive load required to juggle these responsibilities often leads to burnout, leaving little energy for what matters most: human connection. The introduction of generative AI, Gen AI, shifts the paradigm from content creation to content curation and facilitation. Instead of spending 4 hours writing a lesson plan from scratch, you spend 20 minutes engineering a prompt to generate the structure, and then another 20 minutes refining it with your expert nuance. This shift allows us to move from a focus on delivery to a focus on the diagnosis. With AI handling the initial drafting of materials, quizzes, and administrative emails, educators can reclaim their time to diagnose student misconceptions and offer targeted mentorship. Consider the flipped classroom model, which gained popularity a decade ago. AI takes this concept further by enabling a flipped workflow. The machine handles the rote, structural, and iterative tasks, while the human focuses on strategy, empathy, and complex decision-making. Section 1.2, Moving from Fear to Empowerment. It is natural to feel a tremor of anxiety when a new technology threatens to disrupt established norms. The narrative that AI will replace teachers is pervasive, but it is fundamentally flawed. AI cannot look a struggling student in the eye and understand that their lack of focus is due to hunger, not apathy. AI lacks the capacity for empathy, moral judgment, and genuine lived experience. These are your superpowers. The goal is not to compete with the AI on speed or data processing. You will lose that battle every time. The goal is to leverage AI to enhance your human distinctiveness. Think of the electronic calculator. When it was introduced, there was widespread panic that students would lose the ability to do math. Instead, the calculator freed mathematicians to tackle more complex, theoretical problems rather than getting bogged down in long division. We are at a similar juncture with language and instructional design. By embracing AI, we move from fear to empowerment. We stop viewing the technology as a rival and start viewing it as an tireless intern who is ready to work 24/7, waiting only for your specific instructions. Task category: the tired's way, manual; the wired way, AI assisted. Section 1.3, the human in the loop philosophy. In the world of prompt engineering, there is a critical concept known as human in the loop, HITL. This philosophy dictates that while AI can generate content, a human expert must always be present to initiate the request, review the output, and refine the final product. AI is a probabilistic engine. It predicts the next likely word in a sentence based on patterns. It does not know facts in the way you do. Therefore, blindly trusting AI output is dangerous. You must act as the editor-in-chief. The HITL workflow looks like a cycle rather than a straight line. You prompt, the AI generates; you review, you refine the prompt, and the AI generates again. This iterative process ensures that the output aligns with your pedagogical goals and institutional standards. Your role changes from being the writer to being the director. You set the scene, describe the characters, and outline the plot. The AI acts out the scene, but you retain the power to yell "cut" and demand a retake if the performance doesn't land. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a circular workflow loop. Steps labeled: 1. Human intent, icon, brain, 2. Prompt engineering, icon, keyboard, 3. AI processing, icon, chip to sparkles, 4. Output generation, icon, document, 5. Human review and fact check, icon, magnifying glass, 6. Refinement, icon, pencil. Central label, human in the loop. Style, modern infographic, flat design, arrow flow, professional color palette. The 80-20th rule of AI. A helpful mental model is the 80-20th rule. In many cases, a well-crafted prompt can get you 80% of the way to a finished product. That final 20%, the localization, the emotional tone, the specific context of your learners, must come from you. Never publish or present raw AI output without that crucial 20% human polish. That final layer is where your expertise shines, ensuring the content resonates with your specific audience rather than sounding like generic internet text. Section 1.4, identifying your AI teaching assistant. One of the most effective ways to utilize AI is to assign it a specific persona. When you open a chat window with an LLM, large language model, like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, you should know exactly who you are talking to. By defining the RA's role, you constrain its focus and improve the quality of its responses. Here are 3 distinct teaching assistants you can summon through prompt engineering. 1. The instructional designer. This assistant helps you structure learning objectives, build course outlines, and align content with standards, like Bloom's taxonomy. Role: the expert instructional designer. Task: create a 3-day workshop outline on conflict resolution. Constraint: use Gagne's 9 events of instruction as the framework. 2. The Socratic tutor. This assistant helps you anticipate student confusion. You can ask it to play the role of a confused novice or a skeptic to test your explanations before you deliver them. Role: a skeptical corporate learner who thinks this training is a waste of time. Task: critique my opening statement for the cybersecurity awareness session. Goal, tell me why it sounds boring and suggest a hook that hits harder. 3. The administrative clerk. This assistant handles the logistical formatting. It can turn rough notes into a clean syllabus, format a rubric into a table, or draft emails to parents or stakeholders. Role, administrative assistant. Task, take these bullet points from my faculty meeting and format them into a professional email summary. Tone, professional but urgent. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing 3 distinct robot avatars standing side by side. 1. Wearing glasses and holding a blueprint, the designer. 2. Holding a question mark sign and looking inquisitive, the tutor. 3. Typing on a typewriter with a stack of papers, the clerk. Style, Pixar style 3D render, distinct colors for each role, highly expressive faces. Section 1.5, Establishing ethical guardrails early. As we integrate this powerful co-pilot, we must establish safety protocols. The most pressing issue is data privacy. As a rule of thumb, never feed personally identifiable information, PII, into a public AI model. If you are a teacher, do not paste student names, ID numbers, or private grades into a standard chatbot. Instead, use placeholders like student or anonymized datasets. Corporate trainers must be equally vigilant about proprietary company secrets. The second guardrail is bias awareness. AI models are trained on the internet, which reflects the biases of society. An image generator asked to create a professor might overwhelmingly produce images of older white men. As the human in the loop, you must actively scan for these biases. Does the case study generated by the AI represent a diverse range of names and backgrounds? Is the language inclusive? You are the moral compass that keeps the AI pointed true north. The Trust but Verify checklist. Before using any AI-generated material in a live setting, run it through this quick mental checklist. Accuracy. Did I verify the facts, dates, citations? AI often hallucinates fake sources. Privacy. Did I ensure no student or company data is exposed? Voice. Does this sound like me, or does it sound robotic? Bias. Is the content inclusive and fair? By adhering to these guardrails, you ensure that your AI co-pilot remains a beneficial tool rather than a liability. You are building a sustainable practice that protects your learners while maximizing your efficiency. Speaking the language, the art and science of prompting. Chapter 2, Speaking the language, the art and science of prompting. Section 2.1, Deconstructing the anatomy of a great prompt. Section 2.2, Context, persona, and tone setting. Section 2.3, Defining constraints and specific output formats. Section 2.4, The iterative process of refinement. Section 2.5, Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. In our previous discussion, we established the AI as your co-pilot, a capable partner ready to handle the heavy lifting of educational administration and content generation. Now, we must address the most critical skill in this partnership, communication. The AI does not read minds, it reads text. Many educators try a generative AI tool once, type a generic request like write a lesson plan about history, and receive a generic, hallucinated, or uninspired response. They often walk away thinking the technology is overhyped. The issue, however, rarely lies with the engine, but rather with the fuel we put into it. Prompt engineering is not coding. It is simply the art of clear, structured communication. It requires the same skills you use when explaining a complex assignment to a student or delegating a task to a new teaching assistant. You need to be explicit, contextual, and iterative. In this chapter, we will move beyond basic requests. We will learn to speak the language of the model, transforming vague thoughts into precision instruments that generate exactly what you need for your classroom or training hall. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing an exploded view of a text prompt. The visual should look like a technical blueprint or anatomy chart. A central text bubble is dissected into 4 distinct, color-coded layers, persona, blue, context, green, constraint, orange, and task, red. Connecting lines lead to icons representing these concepts, a theater mask for persona, a background map for context, a ruler for constraint, and a checklist for task. Style, clean vector art, isometric view, professional education textbook aesthetic, white background. 2.1 Deconstructing the anatomy of a great prompt. A prompt is more than a question, it is a set of instructions. To get high-quality output, you must treat your prompt like a well-structured lesson objective. If the instructions are ambiguous, the result will be messy. Through trial and error across thousands of educational use cases, a specific anatomy of a mega-prompt has emerged. While you don't need all these elements for a quick question, you absolutely need them for complex content creation. The 4 pillars of a high-functioning prompt are: 1. Role persona, who is the AI pretending to be? 2. Task, what specific action must it take? 3. Context, who is the audience, and what is the background? 4. Constraints format, how should the output look, and what are the boundaries? Let's look at the difference between a weak prompt and a structured one. Weak prompt, make a quiz about photosynthesis. Structured prompt, act as a veteran 9th grade biology teacher, role. Create a 5-question multiple-choice quiz about the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis, task. The audience consists of students who are struggling with scientific vocabulary, so use accessible language, context. Output the quiz as a table with columns for the question, for options, the correct answer, and a brief explanation, format. When you provide the anatomy, the AI stops guessing and starts executing. It shifts from a probability machine making generic associations to a focused tool solving a specific problem. 2.2 Context, persona, and tone setting. Of all the elements in a prompt, the persona is the most frequently overlooked, yet it provides the most significant jump in quality. Large language models, LLMs, are trained on the entire internet. When you ask a question without a persona, the AI pulls from the average of all that data. As educators and trainers, we don't want average. We want expertise. By assigning a persona, you effectively tell the AI which slice of its massive database to prioritize. Consider the difference in tone when you change the persona. Prompt A, act as a strict university professor of literature. Prompt B, act as an energetic corporate trainer specializing in Gen Z onboarding. If you ask both personas to explain active listening, the professor might cite academic theory and syntax, while the corporate trainer might use emojis, bullet points, and workplace scenarios. Setting the tone context goes hand in hand with persona. You must define your audience. An explanation of fiscal policy looks vastly different for a 3rd grader than it does for an MBA student. Here is a template for setting context and tone effectively. You are, insert persona, e.g., an instructional designer. Your tone should be, insert tone, e.g., encouraging, professional, concise. You are writing for, insert audience, e.g., exhausted nurses starting a night shift training. Keep in mind that, insert specific context, e.g., they have limited time and prefer bullet points over paragraphs. By narrowing the scope, you reduce the cognitive load on the reader, your students, because the output is tailored specifically to their reading level and emotional state. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen composition. On the left, a chaotic, messy cloud of puzzle pieces represents raw internet data. On the right, a funnel labeled persona and context filters these pieces into a neat, organized stack of gold blocks labeled tailored content. The lighting should be bright and clarifying on the right side. Style, 3D render, minimalist, symbolizing clarity and filtering. 2.3 Defining constraints and specific output formats. In education, format matters. A lesson plan isn't useful if it's a wall of text, it needs headers, timestamps, and resource lists. A rubric isn't useful if it's a paragraph, it needs a grid. AI models can output text in almost any structure you can imagine. You simply have to ask for it. This is where you, as the expert, define the container for the R is knowledge. Common educational constraints, * length, write exactly 150 words or limit responses to 2 sentences. * exclusions, do not use jargon or do not mention specific software tools. * inclusions, you must include a hook, an activity, and an assessment. The power of formats: never accept a generic block of text if a structured format serves you better. You can request the AI to write code, create data structures, or format text for specific applications. Here are a few powerful format requests to try. Markdown tables, great for rubrics, schedules, and curriculum mapping. Prompt fragment, output the result as a markdown table with columns for time, topic, and activity. CSV, comma-separated values, perfect for importing quiz questions into an LMS, learning management system, like Canvas or Moodle. Prompt fragment, format the quiz questions in CSV format suitable for generic import. Code blocks, useful for keeping formatting clean when copying into emails or documents. Prompt fragment, put the email draft inside a code block so I can copy it easily. Example constraint block. Formatting rules. Use bold text for key vocabulary terms. Use bullet points for the step-by-step instructions. Create a 2-column table for the pros versus cons section. Do not conclude with a summary paragraph. Defining these constraints prevents the wall of text fatigue that often plagues AI-generated content. 2 point for the iterative process of refinement. There is a misconception that prompt engineering is about finding the one magic spell that works perfectly every time. In reality, it is a conversation. It is an iterative loop. Rarely will the first result be 100% perfect. You might get a lesson plan that is too long, or a quiz where the questions are too easy. This is not a failure, it is the drafting phase. The refinement loop strategy. Draft, send your initial structured prompt. Review, analyze the output. What is missing? What is wrong? Refine, reply to the AI with corrections. Examples, that was good, but make the tone more playful, or rewrite the 3rd section, it was too complex for my students. Polish, ask for the final format. The Ask Me technique. One of the most powerful moves you can make is to let the AI help you write the prompt. Before asking it to generate content, ask it what it needs. I want you to design a syllabus for a Graphic Design 101 course. Before you generate it, ask me 5 questions about the course goals and logistics that will help you do a better job. By flipping the script, the AI prompts you. It might ask about the semester length, software availability, or grading weights, details you might have forgotten to mention. This ensures the first draft is significantly closer to your vision. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a circular flow chart labeled the iterative loop. For nodes in a circle, draft prompt or analyze output refine instructions final Polish. In the center of the circle, a glowing light bulb represents the ideal result. Arrows show a clockwise motion. Style, modern infographic, flat design, using soft blues and teals, suitable for a professional slide deck. 2.5 Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Even with a good structure, it is easy to fall into traps that degrade the quality of your output. As you practice, watch out for these 3 common errors. Pitfall 1, cognitive overload, the kitchen sink prompt. Trying to do too much in one prompt often leads to the AI forgetting instructions. If you ask for a syllabus, a quiz, an email to parents, and a grading rubric all in one go, the quality of each will suffer. Solution, chain your prompts. First, generate the syllabus. Once that is approved, say, great, now based on that syllabus, generate the quiz. Break complex tasks in 2 steps. Pitfall 2, ambiguity in assessment. Asking for challenging questions is subjective. What is challenging to a novice is easy to an expert. Solution, anchor your request to a standard. Create questions based on Bloom's taxonomy level for analysis, or create questions similar in difficulty to the SAT writing section. Pitfall 3, Blind Trust, the Hallucination Trap. As discussed in the AI Copilot chapter, LLMs can confidently state falsehoods. If you ask for quotes, citations, or specific data points, the AI may invent them to satisfy your prompt structure. Solution: verify facts. Explicitly instruct the AI. If you do not know the answer or specific citation, state that you do not know. Do not invent sources. Common mistake: better approach. Mastering these elements, anatomy, persona, constraints, and iteration, transforms the AI from a novelty toy into a serious professional tool. You are no longer hoping for a good result, you are engineering it. In the next chapter, we will take these prompting skills and apply them to one of the most time-consuming tasks in education: lesson planning and curriculum design. Figure mind map. Figure mind map, the art of prompting. Anatomy of a prompt, role, persona, task, context, constraints, format, refining process, iterative loop, that ask me a technique, output formats, tables, code blocks, CSV, lists, common pitfalls, cognitive overload, ambiguity, blind trust. Blueprints for learning, curriculum and lesson planning. Chapter 3, Blueprints for learning, curriculum and lesson planning. Section 3.1, Aligning AI outputs with educational standards. Section 3.2, Generating learning objectives with Bloom's taxonomy. Section 3.3, Drafting comprehensive lesson plans in minutes. Section 3.4, Differentiating instruction for diverse learners. Section 3.5, Scaffolding complex topics for novice learners. In our previous chapters, we established the AI as your capable co-pilot and learned the fundamental grammar of prompting. Now, we move from theory to the engine room of education, the planning phase. Every educator knows the feeling of staring at a blank calendar or an empty lesson template. The cognitive load required to translate a broad curriculum requirement into a specific, engaging Tuesday morning activity is immense. This is where many of us burn out, not in the classroom, but in the preparation. Think of this chapter as your architectural guide. If teaching is the construction of knowledge, then curriculum planning is the drafting of the blueprints. With AI, you are no longer sketching these blueprints by hand, eraser dust covering your desk. Instead, you are using a CAD system that can generate structural options in seconds. We are going to explore how to use large language models, LLMs, to construct robust, standards-aligned learning experiences. We will move beyond "give me a lesson on fractions" to engineering precise, differentiated, and scaffolded instructional designs. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen composition. On the left, a disorganized pile of textbooks, sticky notes, and coffee cups representing traditional planning. On the right, a sleek, holographic 3D blueprint interface glowing in blue and cyan, showing structured lesson blocks connecting like puzzle pieces. The lighting should be warm on the left, cool and futuristic on the right, symbolizing the transition to AI-assisted structure. 3.1 Aligning AI outputs with educational standards. One of the most persistent myths about AI in education is that it operates in a vacuum, unaware of the rigid frameworks we must work within. Whether you are a K-12 teacher bound by Common Core or TEKS, or a corporate trainer adhering to OSHA or ISO compliance standards, alignment is non-negotiable. The challenge is that AI models possess general knowledge, not necessarily your specific compliance handbook. If you ask an LLM to plan a biology lesson for 9th grade, it might pull curriculum data from the UK, the US, or a generic aggregate of Wikipedia. To fix this, we must use context injection. You cannot rely on the RA's internal training data for specific standards because standards change, and models can be outdated. You must provide the standard as the ground truth. Here is the workflow: locate the specific text of the standard you are targeting. Copy it. Then, instruct the AI to use that specific text as the anchor for all content generation. The alignment prompt pattern. Use the following structure to force the AI to adhere to your constraints. Note how we explicitly tell the AI to verify the content against the pasted standard. Role: the expert instructional designer. Task: create a lesson outline aligned strictly with the provided standard. Context: the standard. Paste the exact text of your standard here, e.g., ccss.elaliteracy.rl.9-10.3, analyze how complex characters develop over the course of a text. Instructions. 1. Break this standard down into 3 specific sub-skills. 2. For each sub-skill, suggest one assessment method. 3. Ensure every activity proposed directly contributes to mastering this specific standard. By anchoring the prompt with the pasted text, you eliminate hallucination regarding the learning goal. The AI shifts from guessing what a 9th grade reading standard looks like to analyzing the text you provided. 3.2 Generating learning objectives with Bloom's taxonomy. Once we have our standards, we need to define the depth of learning. We have all fallen into the trap of using weak verbs in our objectives, words like understand, learn, or know. These are unmeasurable. Bloom's taxonomy has long been our compass for moving students from recall to creation. However, mentally cycling through verb lists to find the perfect fit can be tedious. AI excels here because it understands the semantic relationship between words and actions better than any thesaurus. We can use AI to upgrade our objectives. We can feed it a basic concept and ask it to generate objectives across the cognitive domain. The Bloom's Elevator prompt. This prompt helps you visualize the trajectory of the lesson, ensuring you aren't stuck at the bottom of the pyramid. Topic: Photosynthesis. Target audience: 7th grade science. Please generate 6 learning objectives based on Bloom's revised taxonomy, 1 for each level. 1. Remembering. 2. Understanding. 3. Applying. 4. Analyzing. 5. Evaluating. 6. Creating. Format. Level name: objective containing a strong, measurable verb, suggested brief activity. When you run this, you will often find the AI suggests creative angles you hadn't considered. For creating, it might suggest design a solar-powered machine that mimics a leaf, instantly giving you a project-based learning idea you hadn't planned for. 3.3 Drafting comprehensive lesson plans in minutes. Now we arrive at the core task, the lesson plan. In the past, writing a detailed plan, hook, direct instruction, guided practice, independent practice, closure, could take an hour. With the right blueprint prompt, it takes minutes. The key to a successful AI lesson plan is specificity regarding time and pedagogical model. If you don't specify a model, the AI will give you a generic lecture format. If you ask for a 5E model, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, or Gagne's 9 events, the structure becomes professional immediately. The time-boxed lesson generator. This prompt is designed to create a logistical flow that actually fits within your class period. Role: curriculum specialist. Topic: negotiation skills for sales teams. Duration: 60 minutes. Model: 5E instructional model, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate. Requirements. 1. Create a minute-by-minute breakdown of the session. 2. The engage section must include a provocative discussion question or role-play hook. 3. That explained section must be brief, max 10 minutes, to allow more time for practice. 4. Include a list of required materials, resources. Output. Please present this in a clean markdown table with columns: time, phase, activity, teacher action, student action. By requesting a table with teacher action and student action, you force the AI to visualize the dynamics of the room. It ensures the students aren't just passive listeners. I often use this to generate a straw-manned draft. I might not like the specific role-play it suggests, but the structure is sound. I can then simply say to the AI, keep the structure, but change the engage activity to a video case study. Iteration is faster than creation. 3. For differentiating instruction for diverse learners. Differentiation is the holy grail of education, yet it is also the most resource-intensive. In a room of 30 students or a Zoom call with 50 trainees, you have varied reading levels, language proficiencies, and background knowledge. Creating 3 versions of the same worksheet used to be a Sunday night nightmare. With AI, it is a simple copy-paste remix operation. We can take the explain portion of our lesson plan from section 3.3 and adapt it instantly. The Universal Design Remix Prompt. Use this prompt to generate variations of your core content. Source content. Paste the explanation or reading passage generated in the previous step. Task. Create 3 differentiated versions of this content for the following profiles. 1. The novice. Rewrite at a 5th grade reading level, define all jargon in bold, and use bullet points for key concepts. 2. The advanced learner. Include an extension question that connects this topic to a real-world paradox or complex application. 3. The visual learner. Describe a detailed infographic or diagram that would explain this concept, including labels and visual flow. This approach respects the intelligence of all learners while acknowledging their different access points. You aren't dumbing down the curriculum, you are providing different ramps to the same platform. Scaffolding complex topics for novice learners. Scaffolding is the temporary support we provide to help a learner cross the zone of proximal development. It's the difference between throwing someone into the deep end and giving them a kickboard. AI is exceptionally good at scaffolding because it is excellent at analogies and breaking down procedural logic. When you are teaching a complex abstract concept, like recursion in coding or existentialism in philosophy, you can ask the AI to build a bridge from the known to the unknown. The bridge building prompt. This technique asks the AI to start with a relatable concept before introducing the complex academic term. Target concept: electrochemical gradients in biology. Audience: high school freshmen, 14 to 15 years old. Instruction. 1. Explain this concept using a real-world analogy, e.g., a crowded concert, a battery, a dam. 2. Explicitly map the parts of the analogy to the biological terms. E.g., the people represent the ions. 3. Create a 3-step guided thinking sequence that leads the student to define the term themselves. By explicitly asking for the mapping, step 2, you prevent the analogy from becoming confusing. The AI will explain why the analogy works, which is often where human explanation falls short in the heat of the moment. Conclusion: from static to dynamic planning. The blueprints we create with AI are not static documents to be filed away. They are living, breathing strategies. The true power lies in the fact that if your planner for the lesson hook falls flat in the first period, you can open your AI Copilot during the break and ask, "Give me 3 alternative hooks for this lesson, make them more interactive." You are no longer limited by your own mental energy or the resources you have physically on hand. You have an engine of infinite variability at your fingertips. In the next chapter, we will look at content creation, diving deeper into generating the actual handouts, slide decks, and assessments that populate these lesson plans. Figure mind map, blueprints for learning, curriculum and lesson planning, standards alignment, context injection, compliance check, anchor text, Bloom's taxonomy, verbs upgrade, cognitive levels, measurable outcomes, lesson planning, time boxing, pedagogical models, 5E, Gagny, structural prompts, differentiation, reading levels, extension tasks, learning modalities, scaffolding, analogies, bridge building, concept mapping. The Infinite Library, generating high-quality educational materials. Chapter 4, The Infinite Library, generating high-quality educational materials. Section 4.1, creating custom reading passages and case studies. Section 4.2, designing worksheets, handouts, and job aids. Section 4.3, scripting lectures and video tutorials. To Section 4.4, crafting analogies, metaphors, and explanations. To Section 4.5, transforming text into visual concepts. We have already established how to communicate with your AI Copilot and how to blueprint a curriculum. Now, we arrive at the production floor. This is where the abstract becomes concrete, and where your workload is significantly lightened. Imagine a library that doesn't just store books, but writes them the moment you ask. In the past, if you needed a reading passage on quantum mechanics for 5th graders or a conflict resolution case study for IT managers, you spent hours scouring the internet. You often settled for materials that were almost right, but required heavy editing. With generative AI, you are no longer a scavenger of content, you are an editor-in-chief. You have access to an infinite library where every resource is bespoke, tailored specifically to your learning objectives and your audience's needs. This chapter is about leveraging that power to create high-quality, actionable educational materials in seconds. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split composition. On the left, a frustrated teacher buried under piles of mismatched textbooks and papers. On the right, the same teacher standing calmly in a futuristic, glowing digital library where books are floating and assembling themselves. The lighting on the right should be warm and golden, symbolizing empowerment. The style should be semi-realistic digital art, clean lines, professional aesthetic. For point 1, creating custom reading passages and case studies. One of the most persistent challenges in education is differentiation. In a K-12 classroom, you might have students reading at 3 different grade levels. In corporate training, you might need to teach the same compliance policy to new hires and seasoned executives. AI excels at rewriting content to fit specific constraints without losing the core message. You can generate a single mastered text and then have the AI spin off variations instantly. The Lexile slider technique. When generating reading passages, avoid generic requests like bright and easy text. Be specific about the literacy level or the persona of the reader. Prompt strategy: use the source target constraints framework. Provide the topic, source, define the audience, target, and set the parameters, constraints. Act as a literacy specialist. Write a 300-word reading passage about the water cycle suitable for an 8th grade reading level. Constraints. Include the terms evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collection. Use an analogy related to a kitchen to explain the process. Include 3 comprehension questions at the end that require critical thinking, not just recall. Once you have this output, you can instantly differentiate it. Retain the core information and the kitchen analogy, but rewrite this passage for a student reading at a 3rd grade level. Shorten sentence structures and simplify vocabulary. Generating corporate case studies. For trainers, the challenge is often relevance. Generic case studies feel disconnected from the company's reality. AI allows you to anonymize real situations or synthesize realistic scenarios based on your specific industry. Prompt strategy: feed the AI the variables of your workplace environment to create a scenario that feels authentic to your learners. Create a role-play scenario for a giving feedback workshop. Context: a tech startup environment. Characters. 1. Alex is a brilliant but consistently late developer. 2. Jordan, a newly promoted team lead who hates conflict. The scene: Jordan needs to address Alex's tardiness without demotivating him. Output format. Background context paragraph. Script for the beginning of the meeting. 3 decision points where the learner must choose what Jordan should say next. For point 2, designing worksheets, handouts, and job aids. The days of spending your Sunday night aligning text boxes in a word processor are over. While AI cannot yet physically format a perfect layout, it can structure the content so effectively that the formatting becomes a trivial final step. The goal here is utility. We are moving away from busy work and toward materials that scaffold learning or support performance on the job. Scaffolding with smart worksheets. A good worksheet guides the learner from low-order thinking to high-order application. You can prompt the AI to design this progression for you. Prompt strategy: ask for content in markdown tables or structured lists, which can be easily copied into your document editor. Create a worksheet structure for a lesson on identifying phishing emails. Structure the content as follows. 1. Part A, definitions matching, table format. 2. Part B. Analyze the example. Provide 3 text-based examples of emails. 1. Safe, 2. Phishing, and ask the student to circle the red flags. 3. Part C. Reflection. A prompt asking how they would handle a suspicious email from a boss. Creating job aids and checklists. In the corporate world, memory is fallible. Job aids, checklists, flowcharts, cheat sheets are often more valuable than the training itself. The key to a good job aid is brevity and action-oriented language. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a before and after comparison of a job aid. The before is a dense wall of text labeled Standard Procedure Manual. The after is a clean, visual checklist with icons and bold headers labeled AI-enhanced job aid. The background should be a clean, modern office desk surface. Lighting should be bright and clinical. Prompt strategy, transform complex policy text into a step-by-step decision matrix. I am pasting the company's for-page remote access troubleshooting policies below. Transform this text into a one-page quick reference guide for the IT help desk. Format it as a checklist. Use imperative verbs, e.g., check VPN, reset router. Group steps into Tier 1 solutions and Tier 2 escalations. For point 3, scripting lectures and video tutorials. Writing for the ear is different from writing for the eye. When we write lectures or video scripts, we often make them too dense or formal. If you simply read a textbook aloud, your audience will tune out within minutes. Your AI copilot can serve as your screenwriter, helping you inject conversational tone, humor, and pacing markers into your educational scripts. The tone toggle. You can ask the AI to adjust the temperature of your script. A lecture on safety compliance needs to be serious but engaging. A tutorial on graphic design can be loose and energetic. Prompt strategy, explicitly define the persona and the format, e.g., podcast, TED Talk, instructional video. Write a 5-minute video script explaining supply and demand. Target audience, high school seniors. Tone, energetic, like a popular YouTube education channel, e.g., Crash Course. Format, 2-column script, visuals on left, audio on right. Include an opening hook that relates to buying concert tickets. A myth-busting section. A call to action at the end. Handling transitions and flow. One of the hardest parts of lecturing is moving smoothly between topics. AI generates excellent transition phrases that bridge disconnected ideas. If you have a bulleted list of topics, ask the AI to weave them into a narrative. Turn these 5 bullet points into a cohesive 3-minute introductory speech that uses a gardening metaphor to connect them. For crafting analogies, metaphors, and explanations. This is perhaps the most magical capability of the infinite library. Learning happens when we connect new information to something we already understand. Great teachers are masters of analogy. Sometimes, however, we get stuck. How do you explain a blockchain to a room of kindergarten teachers? How do you explain semicolons to software engineers? The bridge technique. The bridge prompts the AI to find a commonality between the complex topic and the learner's known world. Prompt strategy, explain complex topic to a specific audience using an analogy about familiar domain. Examples. For IT training, explain the concept of API at a non-technical sales staff using an analogy about a restaurant waiter. For biology, explain the function of the mitochondria using an analogy about a city's power plant. I need to explain the concept of emotional intelligence to a group of hard-nosed data analysts. Create 3 distinct metaphors that explain emotional intelligence using concepts from data science, e.g., signal-to-noise ratio, data cleaning, or pattern recognition. For point 5, transforming text into visual concepts. While LLMs, large language models, generate text, they are incredibly useful for visualizing concepts. They can describe images for you to create, or write code that generates diagrams. This section is not about AI generating the image itself, but about generating the concept for the visual. Generating image prompts. If you use tools like Midjourney or DALL-E, you know that the quality of the output depends on the description. You can use your text-based AI to write the prompts for your image-based AI. Prompt strategy. I have a slide about the complexity of the nervous system. Write 3 detailed image generation prompts I can use to create a background image. The style should be abstract medical illustration, neon futuristic, and vintage anatomical sketch. Creating diagrams with code. For flowcharts, mind maps, and timelines, you can ask the AI to write mermaid.js code or ASCII art. This allows you to instantly visualize processes without drawing them by hand. Figure. Extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a computer screen displaying a complex flowchart code on one side, and the rendered colorful flowchart on the other side. The flowchart depicts a decision tree. The environment is a modern design studio, soft lighting, focus on the screen contents. Prompt strategy. Create a flowchart code, mermaid.js syntax, that visualizes the project management lifecycle. Include the phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, closure. Add decision diamonds for client approval. You can then paste this code into any Markdown editor or Mermaid viewer to get an instant, professional diagram. Building your collection. The infinite library is not just about speed, it is about precision. By using these techniques, you are building a repository of materials that are perfectly aligned with your voice and your students' needs. You are no longer limited by what the textbook publisher decided to include. You are the creator. In the next chapter, we will look at how to take these materials and use AI to construct robust assessment tools that measure true understanding. Create professional, figure mind map, the infinite library chapter breakdown custom reading, differentiation, Lexile slider, corporate scenarios, worksheets and aids, scaffolding, job aids, checklists, markdown tables, scripting, tone toggle, visuals vs audio, YouTube style, analogies, the bridge technique, domain mapping, simplifying complexity, visual concepts, image prompts, mermaid.js code, ASCII art. Beyond the red pen, assessment, grading, and feedback. Chapter 5, Beyond the red pen, assessment, grading, and feedback. Section 5.1, Designing robust rubrics and success criteria. Section 5.2, Generating quiz questions and knowledge checks. Section 5.3, Accelerating grading with AI assistance. Section 5.4, Providing personalized and constructive feedback. Section 5.5, Analyzing student performance trends. We have built the curriculum and generated the content. The classroom, virtual or physical, is buzzing with activity. But now, we face the task that keeps more educators awake at night, and ruins more weekends, than any other: grading. For generations, the red pen has been the symbol of the profession. It represents correction, judgment, and the tedious, manual labor of sifting through stacks of papers to justify a letter grade. It is a necessary evil, but one that often drains the joy out of teaching and the curiosity out of learning. This chapter invites you to put down the red pen and pick up a data-driven lens. We are moving beyond simple assessment into the realm of evaluation and growth. Here, your AI co-pilot transitions from a content creator into a teaching assistant, capable of analyzing performance, accelerating grading, and helping you provide feedback that actually changes student outcomes. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen composition. On the left, a grayscale, cluttered desk with a tired teacher hand-grading papers under a dim lamp. On the right, a bright, futuristic holographic interface displaying colorful analytics charts, glowing feedback bubbles, and a progress bar, symbolizing AI-assisted assessment. High contrast, cinematic lighting, 8K resolution, photorealistic style. 5.1 Designing robust rubrics and success criteria. A grade is only as good as the criteria used to define it. We often struggle with grade disputes because our expectations remain abstract until the moment we assign a score. A robust rubric acts as a contract between the learner and the educator, removing ambiguity. However, designing a rubric that is specific, measurable, and fair takes hours of drafting and refining. You have to anticipate every way a student might misunderstand the assignment. This is where AI excels. It can hallucinate the average attempt and help you build guardrails against it. When prompting for rubrics, avoid asking for a generic writing rubric. Instead, feed the AI the assignment prompt and your learning objectives. Ask it to break down the criteria into varying levels of mastery, from novice to expert. Here is a prompt structure to create precise success criteria. Act as a lead instructional designer. I need a rubric for a project type, e.g., high school history debate, on the topic of the Industrial Revolution. The learning objective is objective. Students will analyze primary sources to argue the societal impact of industrialization. Create a table format rubric with 4 levels: emerging, developing, proficient, mastery. Include the following criteria categories. 1. Use of evidence. 2. Argument structure. 3. Oral presentation skills. 4. Rebuttal effectiveness. For each cell, provide concrete, observable descriptors, not just adjectives like good or poor. By explicitly asking for observable descriptors, you force the AI to give you actionable criteria. For example, instead of saying uses good evidence, the AI might cites at least 3 primary sources that directly support the thesis. This clarity benefits the student, but it also benefits you. When the criteria are objective, the mental load of grading drops significantly. You are no longer guessing, you are matching evidence to a description. 5.2 Generating quiz questions and knowledge checks. There is an art to writing a good multiple-choice question. The correct answer must be undeniably right, but the distractors, wrong answers, must be plausible enough to test genuine understanding. Writing these distractors is often the hardest part of assessment design. If you rely on publisher-provided test banks, you risk students finding the answers online. If you write them yourself, you risk writing questions that are too easy or confusingly worded. Your AI co-pilot can generate endless variations of questions based specifically on the text or notes you have actually taught. Use this workflow to generate high-quality knowledge checks. Paste the source material. Do not ask the AI to quiz on a general topic, e.g., Python loops. Paste your actual lecture notes or the reading passage. Define Bloom's taxonomy level. Specify if you want recall questions, lower level, or synthesis questions, higher level. Request explanations. Ask the AI to generate an answer key that explains why the wrong answers are wrong. I am pasting a transcript of my lecture on cybersecurity phishing attacks. Based on this text, generate 5 multiple-choice questions suitable for corporate employees. Requirements. Difficulty, application level, scenario-based. Format, for options per question. Distractors, must be plausible common misconceptions. Output, provide the questions first, then an answer key below with a 1-sentence rationale for the correct answer. Insert text here. This method ensures the assessment aligns perfectly with instruction. It also allows you to rapidly create Tier 2 and Tier 3 versions of quizzes for retakes or for students who require modified assessments, without spending your evening rewriting tests. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a flowchart of assessment generation. Step 1, icon of a document labeled source material. Step 2, arrow pointing to a stylized AI brain icon processing data. Step 3, branching arrows leading to 3 outputs, multiple choice, short answer, and scenario analysis. Clean, isometric vector art style, blue and white color palette, white background. 5.3 Accelerating grading with AI assistance. Warning, this section requires a strict adherence to data privacy. Never paste student names or personally identifiable information, PII, into a public AI model. Always anonymize data before processing. The goal here is not to let the AI assign the final grade blindly. The goal is to use AI to pre-grade or validate your own assessment. This is particularly useful for written responses, coding assignments, or open-ended questions where decision fatigue sets in after the 10th paper. Think of the AI as a teaching assistant. You are the professor with the final say, but the TA prepares the paperwork. You can ask the AI to evaluate an anonymized submission against your rubric and suggest a score. Try this calibration prompt to speed up your workflow. I am going to provide you with a student's essay on topic and the rubric we designed earlier. Your task: 1. Read the essay and compare it strictly against the proficient column of the rubric. 2. Identify specific quotes from the text that justify a score for argument structure. 3. Suggest a tentative score, 1 to 4, for that category. 4. Do not generate a final grade. I only want the evidence alignment. Insert rubric. Insert anonymized student essay. This approach shifts your cognitive load. Instead of reading to find the grade, you are reading to verify the RI's analysis. It turns a 15-minute grading task into a 3-minute review task. For coding or technical training, this is even more powerful. AI can instantly spot syntax errors or logic flaws that a human eye might miss after hours of looking at screens, allowing you to focus on the student's problem-solving approach rather than missing semicolons. 5 point for providing personalized and constructive feedback. The feedback loop is where learning happens. A letter grade, very happy face, tells a student where they stand, but it doesn't tell them how to get to an A. Unfortunately, providing detailed, actionable feedback for 30, 50, or 100 students is often physically impossible. Most teachers resort to shorthand, awkward phrasing, show your work, or good job. These are efficient, but ineffective. AI allows you to scale that feedback sandwich, a positive comment, a constructive critique, and an encouraging closing, for every single student. You can input a student's raw work, or a summary of their errors, and ask the AI to draft a supportive response. This is essentially a translation work, translating your raw data on their performance into an empathetic coaching conversation. I have a student who scored 70% on the geometry quiz. Their main errors were: 1. Confusing radius and diameter in area calculations. 2. Forgot to label units, cm squared. 3. They did correctly identify the shapes and formulas. Write a feedback paragraph addressed to the student. Tone, encouraging but firm on the details. Structure, acknowledge what they did right, explain the specific error regarding radius diameter clearly, and give them one actionable tip to remember for next time. The resulting text serves as a draft. You can tweak it, add a personal touch, and send it. This makes the student feel seen and supported, rather than just judged, yet it took you seconds to generate rather than minutes to compose. 5.5 Analyzing student performance trends. The final step in moving beyond the red pen is stepping back to look at the big picture. Often, we grade an assignment, record the scores, and immediately move to the next unit. We rarely have time to analyze why the class average was 78%. AI excels at pattern recognition. If you can provide the data, e.g., an exported CSV of quiz responses or a list of common essay errors, the AI can act as your data scientist. It can identify gaps in your instruction that you might have missed. For example, if 60% of the class missed question 4, was the question bad, or did you fail to teach that concept effectively? I am pasting the error data from the recent biology exam. Each line represents a question that was missed by more than 30% of the class. Task 1. Group these errors into conceptual themes. 2. Based on these themes, suggest 3 specific reteaching activities I can do tomorrow for 15 minutes to address these gaps. 3. Identify if any questions seem potentially confusing based on their content. Insert questioned error data. This transforms assessment from a postmortem, looking at what died, into a checkup, diagnosing health to improve future performance. It closes the loop, informing your planning for the next chapter, literally and figuratively. By automating the rubric creation, test generation, and data analysis, and by accelerating the grading and feedback process, you reclaim the most valuable asset you have, your energy. You can spend that energy connecting with students who are struggling, rather than connecting with a spreadsheet. Figure Mind Map Chapter 5 Assessment and Feedback Assessment with AI 5.1 Rubrics Clear Criteria Levels of Mastery Observable Descriptors 5.2 Knowledge Checks Distractor Generation Bloom's Taxonomy Alignment Source-Based Quizzes 5.3 Grading Assistance Pre-grading Analysis Rubric Alignment Anonymization Safety 5.4 Feedback Feedback Sandwich Actionable Coaching Tone Calibration 5.5 Analytics Pattern recognition, instructional gaps, reteaching strategies. Visualizing concepts, image generation and multimodal prompts. Chapter 6, Visualizing concepts, image generation and multimodal prompts. Sections of Section 6.1, The Basics of Prompting for Visual Media. Section 6.2, Creating Diagrams, Infographics, and Charts. Section 6.3, Enhancing Slide Decks with Custom Imagery. Section 6.4, Designing Accessible Descriptions for Visual Content. Section 6.5, Troubleshooting Visual Output Glitches. We have spent the last few chapters mastering the written word, crafting lesson plans, generating reading passages, and redefining assessment. But as any experienced educator or trainer knows, text is only half the battle. A dense block of text, no matter how well written, can intimidate a struggling reader or bore a corporate trainee. We process visual information 60,000 times faster than text. Yet, for many of us, creating custom visuals has always been a bottleneck. We rely on grainy JPEGs from Google Images, generic clip art, or sterile stock photos of business people shaking hands. We do this not because we lack imagination, but because we lack the time or the graphic design skills to create what we see in our minds. Generative AI changes this dynamic entirely. You are no longer limited to what you can find, you are only limited by what you can describe. This chapter explores multimodal prompting, the ability to interact with AI using both text and images to create custom diagrams, metaphors, and illustrations that reinforce learning. Figure, photorealistic close-up of a teacher's hand holding a glowing digital paintbrush, painting a vibrant 3D hologram of the solar system into the air above a classroom desk. Cinematic lighting, warm amber and cool blue tones, depth of field focusing on the hologram, high resolution, 8K. 6.1 The Basics of Prompting for Visual Media. Writing prompts for images requires a slight shift in mindset from writing prompts for text. When you ask for a lesson plan, you focus on structure and pedagogy. When you ask for an image, you must think like a photographer, an art director, and a set designer simultaneously. The AI does not understand, make it engaging in the same way a human designer does. You need to translate engaging into visual descriptions. This involves defining the subject, the artistic style, the lighting, and the composition. Without these specifics, the AI defaults to the most average, generic interpretation of your words. Consider the difference between a vague request and a descriptive prompt. If you type "a teacher in a classroom," you will get a generic, likely stereotypical image. If you type "the wide-angle shot of a diverse modern university classroom, warm natural lighting, soft focus background, cyberpunk aesthetic," you get a specific mood and setting. Key elements of a visual prompt. To consistently get high-quality results, use the SMAC. Framework, subject, medium, atmosphere, composition. Element description examples. When you combine these, you gain control. Instead of hoping for a good image, you engineer one. Prompt, a cutaway diagram of a car engine, isometric view. Clean vector art style, white background, labeled parts. Blue and orange color scheme, educational textbook style. 6.2 Creating diagrams, infographics, and charts. One of the most powerful applications for educators is the visualization of abstract concepts. Describing the water cycle is one thing, showing it is another. However, there is a current limitation you must understand: AI is excellent at creating images, but it still struggles with text inside images. If you ask an AI generator to create a flowchart with correct labels for the steps of photosynthesis, it will likely create a beautiful image of a flowchart, but the text will be gibberish or misspelled. The AI treats letters as shapes, not as linguistic meaning. The strategy here is to generate the base visual with AI, and then add your own text using tools like PowerPoint, Canva, or Google Slides. You want the AI to do the heavy lifting of design and layout, leaving the precise labeling to you. The blank canvas technique. To create a usable infographic, ask the AI for a blank version. Prompt: a flat 2D infographic layout representing a 5-step process. The steps are arranged in a circle. Each step has a colorful icon. Placeholder but no text. Clean, modern corporate style. White background, ample white space for adding text later. Once generated, you can drop this image into your slide deck and overlay text boxes. This gives you a professional-looking graphic that is custom-tailored to your color scheme, without the frustration of AI misspellings. Figure: a clean, modern infographic template showing a mountain climb metaphor. The path winds up a stylized mountain with 4 distinct milestones, flags. No text. Flat vector style, vibrant greens and blues, white background, high contrast suitable for overlaying text. Visualizing processes and metaphors. For complex topics, visual metaphors stick better than literal diagrams. If you are teaching cybersecurity to non-technical staff, a literal diagram of a server is boring. A visual metaphor of a digital fortress is memorable. Use prompts that bridge the gap between the concept and the visual. For example, an illustration of a computer firewall represented as a translucent glowing shield protecting a futuristic city from red laser beams, 3D render, tech blue and neon red. 6.3 Enhancing slide decks with custom imagery. We have all sat through death by PowerPoint. Usually, the culprit is too much text and inconsistent visuals. You see a clip art cartoon on one slide, a grainy photo on the next, and a watermark-covered stock image on the third. It looks unprofessional and distracts from the learning. Generative AI allows you to create a unified visual brand for your presentation. By using the same style tokens in your prompts, you can ensure every image looks like it belongs to the same artist. This cohesion builds trust and authority. Defining your style token. Decide on a style for your specific lecture or training module. Are you going for playful claymation for elementary students, or sleek futuristic wireframe for IT training? Once you choose, append that style description to the end of every prompt for that deck. Slide 1, Title. Prompt: a concept art illustration of a diverse team collaborating. Around a glowing globe, digital watercolor style, soft edges. Pastel colors, white background. Slide 2, Conflict resolution. Prompt: 2 people shaking hands, forming a bridge. Digital watercolor style, soft edges, pastel colors, white background. By repeating a digital watercolor style, soft edges, pastel colors, you create a visual thread that ties the presentation together. Point for designing accessible descriptions for visual content. As we embrace visual learning, we must not leave behind students or trainees with visual impairments. Accessibility is a legal requirement in many institutions, but more importantly, it is a moral imperative. Multimodal AI models, those that can see images, can help you write alt text, alternative text, for the images you generate. This creates a positive feedback loop. You generate an image, and then you use an AI text tool to describe it for screen readers. The reverse prompt workflow. If you have a complex diagram, writing the alt text manually can be tedious. Instead, upload the image to an AI chatbot and use the following prompt. Prompt: please write concise, descriptive alt text for this image. Suitable for a screen reader. Focus on the educational content and the relationships between the elements shown. Do not start with the image of. You can also use this feature to check the clarity of your visuals. If the AI cannot accurately describe the concept in your diagram, your students might not understand it either. It serves as a clarity audit for your visual materials. 6.5 Troubleshooting visual output glitches. Despite rapid advancements, AI image generation is not perfect. You will encounter the infamous extra fingers, illogical physics, like rain falling upward, or objects blending into one another. When this happens, do not abandon the tool. Instead, treat it as a drafting process. Common glitches and fixes. The spaghetti hands problem, AI struggles with complex anatomy. Fix, prompt for subjects holding objects, wearing gloves, or keep hands out of frame. Portrait of a scientist holding a clipboard often renders better than just hands. Fix, use the Vary region or InPaint tool available in many platforms to select just the hands and ask the AI to regenerate only that area. Too busy or chaotic, the image has too many details. Fix, add minimalist, clean background, or negative space to your prompt. Fix, explicitly state what you don't want, negative prompting, such as no text, no crowds, no blur. Style bleed, the colors look muddy. Fix, specify lighting. Studio lighting or golden hour often fixes color issues by defining the light source. If a prompt fails 3 times, stop. Reread your prompt. Are you overloading the AI with conflicting instructions? Simplify the request. Go back to the SMAC framework. Start with the subject and medium, then slowly add details. Figure mind map, visualizing concepts chapter overview, root, visualizing concepts, branch, 6.1 the basics, node, shift from pedagogy to art direction, node, SMAC framework, leaf, subject, leaf, medium, leaf, atmosphere, leaf, composition, branch, 6.2 diagrams and infographics, node. The text problem, leaf, AI creates structure, leaf, human adds labels, node, blank canvas technique, node, visual metaphors. Branch, 6.3 slide decks, node, visual consistency, node, style tokens, node, branding, branch, 6. For accessibility, node, alt text generation, node, clarity audits, branch, 6.5 troubleshooting, node, anatomy fixes, node, simplifying prompts, node, in painting. Sparking curiosity, gamification and active learning scenarios. Chapter 7, Sparking Curiosity, Gamification and Active Learning Scenarios. Section 7.1, Simulating Historical Figures and Experts. Section 7.2, Designing Interactive Role-Play Scenarios. Section 7.3, Creating Socratic Tutor Bots for Students. Section 7.4, Building Escape Rooms and Logic Puzzles. Section 7.5, Facilitating Debate and Critical Thinking Exercises. We have mastered the creation of static content, from lesson plans to visual aids. Yet, the most beautifully designed curriculum can still fail if the learner remains a passive observer. Engagement is the currency of education, and in a world distracted by notifications and instant entertainment, we must spend that currency wisely. This chapter marks a pivot from generating materials to architecting experiences. We are moving beyond asking the AI to write a text, we are asking it to be a character, a game master, or a Socratic guide. By leveraging the interactive nature of large language models, LLMs, you can transform a standard lecture into an immersive simulation. You can turn a corporate compliance module into a detective noir mystery, or a history lesson into a live interview with a figure from the past. Here, we explore how to use prompt engineering to gamify learning, creating scenarios where safe failure is encouraged and curiosity is the only way forward. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a learning loop visualization. On the left, a generic stick figure student looks bored reading a book. An arrow leads to a glowing portal in the center. On the right, the same student is now a fully rendered 3D avatar exploring a vibrant digital landscape, interacting with historical figures and solving puzzles. The style should be isometric vector art, clean lines, professional blue and orange color palette, highlighting the transition from passive to active learning. 7.1 Simulating historical figures and experts. The standard way to teach history or philosophy is to read about a person. The AI-enhanced way is to talk to them. Because LLMs are trained on vast amounts of literature, biographies, and speeches, they can mimic the cadence, vocabulary, and worldview of specific figures with uncanny accuracy. This goes beyond a simple parlor trick. It allows students to interrogate primary sources dynamically. A medical student can interview a simulated patient with rare symptoms. A literature student can ask Shakespeare why he chose a tragic ending for King Lear. To do this effectively, your prompt must set strict parameters. You must define the persona's knowledge cutoff, what they know then, not now, and their emotional disposition. Prompting strategy, the persona constraint. Don't just ask the AI to act like Einstein. Be specific about the context. System, context ***. You are Albert Einstein. The year is 1905, and you are working as a patent clerk in Bern. You have just published your papers on the photoelectric effect and special relativity, but you are not yet a global celebrity. Constraints ***. Use humble but passionate language. Do not reference any scientific discoveries made after 1905, e.g., do not mention general relativity or nuclear bombs. Use analogies involving trains, clocks, and light beams to explain your thoughts. If asked about modern technology, like smartphones, express confusion or fascination based on 1905 physics. Task. Engage in a conversation with a student who is struggling to understand why time slows down when moving fast. When you run this prompt, the AI stops being a search engine and becomes a role player. It forces the learner to ask the right questions to unlock information. For corporate trainers, this technique is equally powerful. You can simulate an industry expert or a hostile stakeholder to test an employee's ability to handle pressure or technical inquiries. 7.2 Designing interactive role-play scenarios. Role-play is a staple of soft skills training, but it is resource-intensive. It usually requires 2 people, consumes class time, and often induces social anxiety that inhibits learning. AI solves these friction points by providing an infinite supply of role-play partners available on demand. The learner can practice a difficult conversation 10 times in 10 different ways without fear of judgment. The key to a successful role-play prompt is defining the win state and the resistance level. If the AI agrees to everything the learner says, no learning occurs. The AI must be instructed to push back. Example, the salary negotiation, corporate training. Role. You are a skeptical department manager at a tech firm. I am an employee asking for a raise. Personality. You are budget conscious and stressed. You value my work, but you have been told to freeze spending. You are tough but fair. Instructions. 1. Start the conversation by asking what I want to discuss. 2. Listen to my arguments. 3. If my argument is weak, e.g., I just want more money, reject it firmly. 4. If my argument is data-driven, e.g., I increase sales by 20%, express interest but cite budget issues. 5. Only agree to the raise if I successfully overcome 3 specific objections regarding budget and timing. Format. Keep your responses short, under 50 words, to keep the dialogue flowing. This type of scenario builds muscle memory. It moves the learner from knowing what to say to actually saying it. You can adapt this for K-12 easily. You are a shopkeeper in Colonial Williamsburg. I am a traveler trying to trade furs for supplies. Negotiate the price. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a branching dialogue tree. The central node is a user input bubble. 3 branches extend outward: aggressive response, passive response, and assertive response. Each branch leads to a different facial expression on a digital avatar: angry, bored, impressed. The visual style should be sleek and modern, resembling a video game dialogue interface, utilizing soft gradients and UI elements like chat bubbles. 7.3 Creating Socratic tutor bots for students. One of the greatest fears educators have regarding AI is that it will simply give students the answers. If a student asks, "What is the capital of France?" the AI says Paris, and the thinking stops. However, we can engineer the prompt to prohibit direct answers. We can create a Socratic tutor that answers a question with a question, guiding the learner through the zone of proximal development. This turns the AI into a personalized 1:1 tutor that scaffolds learning rather than bypassing it. This is particularly useful for math, coding, and literary analysis. The guide on the side prompt. Role. You are a Socratic math tutor designed to help 8th grade students with algebra. Prime directive. Never provide the final answer or the full solution steps immediately. Interaction protocol. 1. Ask the student what problem they are working on. 2. If they make a mistake, do not say wrong. Instead, ask, "Can you double-check that step?" Or, "What happens if we subtract x from both sides?" 3. Guide them one step at a time. 4. Use positive reinforcement when they get a step right. 5. If the student gets stuck, offer a conceptual hint, not the calculation. Tone. Encouraging, patient, and curious. This prompt safeguards the integrity of the learning process. It ensures that the cognitive load remains on the student, where learning happens, rather than on the AI. 7. For building escape rooms and logic puzzles. Gamification creates a magic circles where the rules of the real world are suspended, and the only goal is to solve the problem. Escape rooms are excellent for this, as they require critical thinking, collaboration, and application of knowledge under time pressure. Coding a digital escape room usually requires programming skills. With an LLM, you can program the game using natural language. You act as the game designer, and the AI acts as the game engine. The secret here is maintaining state, ensuring the AI remembers what items the player has picked up and which doors are locked. The locked laboratory prompt, science. Game setup. You are the game master of a text-based escape room. The player is a scientist trapped in a lab. Environment. Room 1, the main lab. Contains a locked door, a microscope, and a periodic table. Locked door requires a 4-digit code based on the atomic numbers of carbon and oxygen, 68. Rules. 1. Describe the scene vividly. 2. Wait for the player's action. 3. If the player types "look at microscope," describe a slide showing a plant cell. 4. If the player types "open door," ask for the code. 5. Keep track of the player's inventory, currently empty. 6. Do not reveal the code. The player must deduce it by looking at the periodic table item. Start. Begin by welcoming the player and describing the main lab. This approach works for any subject. A history escape room could require decoding a cipher from Caesar. A corporate cybersecurity escape room could require identifying phishing emails to unlock a server. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a game logic map. It visualizes a text adventure layout. Icons represent different rooms connected by lines. Inside each room icon, there are small symbols for clues, puzzles, and exit. The background looks like a digital grid or blueprint. The lighting is neon style, suggesting a high-tech interface. The focus is on the flow of logic from one puzzle to the next. 7.5 Facilitating debate and critical thinking exercises. Finally, we can use AI to sharpen arguments. In many classrooms and boardrooms, we suffer from echo chambers. We tend to agree with ideas that sound good on the surface. AI can play the role of the devil's advocate or the steel man. It can expose logical fallacies in a student's essay or stress test a business strategy before it goes to market. This is active learning through friction. By defending a position against a tireless, logic-based opponent, the learner solidifies their understanding. The debate coach prompt. Role ***. You are a master debater and logic coach. ***task ***. I will present an argument or a thesis statement. Your job is to find the 3 weakest points in my argument. Method ***. 1. Analyze my text for logical fallacies, ad hominem, straw man, slippery slope. 2. Point out assumptions I have made without evidence. 3. Challenge me to provide data for my boldest claims. 4. Do not be mean, but be rigorous. Do not let me off the hook with vague answers. Topic ***. Insert topic, e.g., remote work is better for productivity. This is invaluable for university faculty guiding thesis students or corporate leaders preparing for a board meeting. It turns the drafting process into a dialogue, ensuring the final product is battle-tested. Summary. Gamification and active learning scenarios transform the AI from a tool of production into a tool of interaction. Whether you are simulating a chat with Marie Curie, role-playing a salary negotiation, or escaping a virtual physics lab, the goal remains the same: to spark curiosity. When a learner is curious, they are not working, they are exploring. And when they are exploring, the knowledge they acquire sticks. In the next chapter, we will look at how to ensure this knowledge is accessible to everyone, regardless of ability or background, as we explore accessibility and inclusion. Figure mind map, gamification and active learning with AI, center node, active learning with AI, branch, simulations, subnode, historical figures, persona plus context, subnode, expert interviews, knowledge cutoff, branch, roleplay, subnode, safe failure environment, subnode, soft skills practice, subnode, resistance levels, branch, Socratic tutors, subnode, guide on the side, subnode, no direct answers, subnode, scaffolding questions, branch, gamification, sub-node, escape rooms, subnode, logic puzzles, subnode, state inventory tracking, branch, critical thinking, subnode, devil's advocate, subnode, stress testing arguments, subnode, identifying fallacies. From boardroom to break room, strategies for corporate trainers. Chapter 8, From boardroom to break room, strategies for corporate trainers. Section 8.1, Developing microlearning modules and snippets. Section 8.2, Role-playing soft skills and conflict resolution. Section 8.3, Streamlining onboarding and compliance training. Section 8.4, Creating scenario-based technical training. Section 8.5, Measuring ROI on training initiatives. We have journeyed through the mechanics of prompting, the architecture of curriculum, and the gamification of the classroom. Now, we turn our attention to a sector where time is literally money, and the students are busy professionals balancing deadlines with development. Corporate training operates under a different set of physics than K-12 or higher education. In a university, a semester provides a long runway for deep learning. In the corporate world, learning often needs to happen now, between a client call and a quarterly review. The challenge isn't just delivering information, it's delivering it in a way that sticks without disrupting the flow of work. For the instructional designer and corporate trainer, AI is more than a content generator, it is an efficiency engine. It allows you to move from being a content bottleneck to a learning architect. This chapter explores how to leverage prompt engineering to solve the specific pain points of learning and development, L&D strict compliance requirements, the need for soft skills scalability, and the eternal quest to prove return on investment, ROI. Let's step out of the classroom and into the boardroom. 8.1 Developing microlearning modules and snippets. The modern workforce is overwhelmed. Attention spans are fragmented by Slack notifications and urgent emails. Consequently, the days of the hour-long Click Next e-learning module are numbered. The solution is microlearning, delivering focused, bite-sized content exactly when it's needed. However, shrinking content is harder than expanding it. It requires ruthless editing and a keen eye for the need-to-know versus the nice-to-know. AI excels here. It can take a dense 50-page standard operating procedure, SOP, and distill it into a series of 90-second scripts or infographics. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a content distillation funnel. The top of the funnel is wide and filled with icons representing heavy documents, PDFs, manuals, raw text, entering the funnel. Inside the funnel, glowing gears represent the AI processing filtering. The bottom of the funnel dispenses 3 distinct output types: a smartphone screen showing a quiz, a flashcard icon, and a video script icon. The style should be clean, isometric vector art, professional corporate color palette, blues, grays, teal, soft lighting, white background. The chunking prompt strategy. To convert long-form content into microlearning, you must ask the AI to identify distinct learning objectives and isolate them. The prompt. Act as an expert instructional designer specializing in microlearning. I am pasting a section of our new remote work security policy below. Your task. 1. Break this text into 3 distinct microlearning topics. 2. For each topic, write a script for a 60-second explainer video. The tone should be casual but authoritative. 3. For each topic, create 1 multiple-choice scenario question that tests application, not just memory. Paste text here. By explicitly asking for a 60-second script, you force the model to prioritize brevity. You aren't just summarizing, you are reformatting for a specific medium. Creating just-in-time job aids. Sometimes, a video is too slow. A worker needs a checklist now. AI can rapidly convert prose into actionable checklists. The prompt. Convert the following technical procedure into a 1-page job aid. Format it as a markdown checklist. Highlight critical stop points, where safety is a concern, in bold uppercase. Remove any preamble or fluff, focus only on the physical actions required. This transforms a passive reading experience into an active tool, bridging the gap between learning a concept and applying it in the break room or on the factory floor. 8.2 Role-playing soft skills and conflict resolution. Soft skills, negotiation, empathy, leadership, are notoriously difficult to teach via traditional e-learning. You cannot learn to de-escalate an angry customer by reading a PDF. You have to practice. In the past, this meant expensive workshops or awkward peer-to-peer role-playing. As discussed in Chapter 7, AI allows us to create simulations. In a corporate context, we use this to create the infinite persona. The simulation loop. The goal here is to create a safe sandbox where employees can fail without costing the company a client. You prompt the AI to play the role of the antagonist. The prompt. You are Marcus, a longtime client who is frustrated because a project deliverable is 2 weeks late. Emotional state, high frustration, feeling undervalued. Goal, you want a discount or you will cancel the contract. Constraint, do not accept the first apology. Require a concrete plan. Before you calm down. Context, I am the account manager. Start the conversation by sending me an angry email. Then, wait for my response. After my response, reply as Marcus based on how well I addressed your concerns. If I do a good job, eventually de-escalate. If I am defensive, get angrier. This prompt sets up a dynamic feedback loop. The trainee, the account manager, gets to practice their email etiquette or conversation skills in real time. Feedback and analysis. The magic happens after the simulation. Once the role-play concludes, you can ask the AI to switch hats, from Marcus the angry client to senior leadership coach. The prompt. After the conversation ends. Now, step out of character. Act as a leadership coach. Analyze the transcript of our conversation. 1. What did I do well in terms of empathy and active listening? 2. Where did I miss an opportunity to de-escalate sooner? 3. Grade my performance on a scale of 1 to 5 based on standard customer success principles. This provides immediate, private, and actionable feedback, something that rarely happens in busy corporate environments. 8.3 Streamlining onboarding and compliance training. Onboarding is often referred to as drinking from the fire hose. New hires are bombarded with culture docs, compliance mandates, and tool tutorials. Compliance training, in particular, suffers from a reputation for being dry and purely legalistic. Our goal is to shift from compliance as checkbox to compliance as culture. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram of a personalized onboarding path. The visual shows a winding roadmap. At the start is a generic avatar labeled New Hire. The road splits into 3 different paths labeled Sales, Engineering, and HR. Each path has unique landmarks, icons representing specific tools or skills. The paths converge at a destination labeled Fully Integrated Team Member. The style should be modern flat design, using vibrant colors to represent energy and growth, distinct from the previous corporate blue style. Gamifying the dry stuff. Instead of asking employees to read a policy and sign it, use AI to generate "what would you do" scenarios based on the policy text. The prompt. I am pasting the data privacy policy below. Generate 5 spot the violation scenarios. Each scenario should describe a realistic office situation where a subtle privacy breach occurs. Do not make the breach obvious. After the scenario, provide the answer and cite the specific section of the policy that was violated. This forces the learner to analyze the policy rather than passively scrolling past it. The personalized onboarding assistant. Imagine creating a custom onboarding schedule for every single new hire based on their specific role and background. Manually, this is impossible. With AI, it takes seconds. The prompt. Create a first-week onboarding schedule for a junior developer who has experience with Python but is new to our specific tech stack, AWS. Incorporate time for HR setup, team introductions, and technical environment setup. Focus the learning block specifically on AWS basics relevant to a Python developer. Leave 2 hours of deep work time each day. Output as a table with columns: day, time block, activity, goal. This level of personalization shows the new hire that you value their specific skills and time, setting a positive tone from day one. 8 point for creating scenario-based technical training. Technical training often fails because it focuses on features rather than workflows. A manual tells you what a button does, training should tell you when and why to press it. To bridge this gap, we used scenario-based prompting. We provide the AI with the technical documentation and ask it to reverse engineer the problems that this technology solves. The troubleshooter generator. If you are training IT support staff, you need an endless supply of broken things for them to fix. The prompt. Act as a senior system admin. Based on the error codes listed in the software documentation below. Generate 3 complex troubleshooting scenarios. For each scenario, 1. Describe the symptoms the user is reporting, not the error code itself. 2. Provide a red herring, a detail that looks important but is irrelevant. 3. Outline the step-by-step logic required to diagnose the root cause. The inclusion of a red herring is crucial. Real-world problems are rarely clean. By adding noise to the scenario, you prepare learners for the messy reality of technical support. Converting screenshots to steps. While LLMs primarily process text, multimodal capabilities, as discussed in Chapter 6, allow us to upload screenshots of software interfaces. The prompt. Upload image of software dashboard. Write a step-by-step tutorial for a new user on how to generate a monthly sales report. Using the interface shown in this image. Use bold text for the specific button names found in the image. If the workflow is unclear, list the questions a user might have. This accelerates the creation of technical documentation and ensures the terminology matches the visual interface exactly. 8.5 Measuring ROI on training initiatives. This is the holy grail of corporate training. Stakeholders want to know, did this training actually change behavior, or was it just a paid break? The Kirkpatrick model is the standard for evaluating training, moving from reaction, did they like it, to results, did it impact the bottom line? AA can help us move beyond level 1, reaction, by analyzing qualitative data at scale. Sentiment analysis of feedback. Instead of manually reading 500 post-training survey comments, feed them into an AI to extract themes. The prompt. I am pasting 200 anonymous feedback comments from our recent Leadership 101 workshop. Analyze these comments for 1. Overall sentiment, positive, neutral, and negative. 2. Top 3 specific concepts participants felt were most valuable. 3. Top 3 logistical complaints, e.g., room temperature, length. 4. Identify any quotes that indicate a specific intent to change behavior. This prompts the AI to look for leading indicators of ROI, our specific intent to apply what was learned. Designing better assessments. To prove learning transfer, we need assessments that measure application, not just recall. Assessment-level traditional question AI-enhanced prompt strategy. By shifting your prompts to generate these higher-order questions, you gather data that correlates much more strongly with actual job performance. Summary. In the corporate environment, the trainer's role is shifting. You are no longer just the person standing at the front of the room with a slide clicker. You are the curator of knowledge and the architect of practice. By using AI to generate microlearning, simulate difficult conversations, streamline onboarding, and analyze impact, you are doing something vital. You are respecting the learner's time. You are ensuring that every minute spent in training translates directly to competence in the break room, the server room, and the boardroom. Next, we will look at the ethical implications of this technology, ensuring that as we automate content, we do not automate away our humanity. Figure Mind Map Strategy for Corporate Trainers, Corporate Training Strategies, 8.1 Microlearning, Chunking Content, Scripting for Video, Job Aids and Checklists, 8.2 Soft Skills, Role-Playing Simulations, The Infinite Persona, Feedback Loops, 8.3 Onboarding and Compliance, Gamification, Scenario-Based Policy, Personalized Paths, 8. For Technical Training, Troubleshooting Scenarios. Multimodal docs red herrings, 8.5 Measuring ROI, Sentiment Analysis, Behavior Change Indicators. Kirkpatrick Model. Masterclass, Advanced Frameworks and Custom Instructions. Chapter 9, Masterclass, Advanced Frameworks and Custom Instructions. Sections is Section 9.1, Leveraging Chain of Thought Prompting. Section 9.2, Setting up Permanent Custom Instructions. Section 9.3, Building a Personal Prompt Library. Section 9.4, Few-Shot Prompting for Stylistic Consistency. Section 9.5, Automating Administrative Workflows. We have traveled a long way together. We have stocked the infinite library with reading passages, put away the red pen in favor of data-driven feedback, and even visualized the abstract through image generation. You are no longer a novice asking a chatbot a simple question, you are a practitioner leveraging a powerful engine. However, as you likely discovered in previous chapters, consistency can be a struggle. Sometimes the AI forgets you teach third grade. Sometimes it drifts into a tone that is too robotic for your corporate training deck. You find yourself typing the same context, I am a university professor in biology, over and over again. This chapter is your transition from user to architect. We are going to pop the hood of these large language models, LLMs, to understand how we can control their behavior permanently. We will move beyond one-off prompts into building systems, libraries, and workflows that compound your efficiency over time. This is the master class. It is time to stop repeating yourself and start engineering your own solutions. 9.1 Leveraging Chain of Thought Prompting. Have you ever asked a student to solve a math problem and they shouted out the wrong answer immediately? When you asked them to show their work, they likely caught their own mistake. AI models work in a surprisingly similar way. Chain of thought, COT, prompting is a technique where you explicitly instruct the AI to break down its reasoning step by step before delivering a final answer. This is crucial for educators and trainers because we prioritize accuracy over speed. When you ask an AI to generate a complex lesson plan or grade a nuance-filled essay without COT, it acts like that impulsive student. It rushes to the output. By forcing it to think aloud, you drastically reduce hallucinations and logical errors. Here is how you apply this in a practical educational context. Instead of asking for a rubric score immediately, you force the model to justify itself first. Standard prompt: grade this essay on a scale of 1 to 10 based on grammar and thesis clarity. Chain of thought prompt: please evaluate the student essay based on the attached rubric. Before assigning a final grade, I want you to perform a chain of thought analysis. 1. Identify the thesis statement and quote it. 2. Analyze the evidence used to support the thesis. 3. List 3 specific grammatical errors, if any exist. 4. Compare these findings against the specific criteria for a score of 8 to 10. Only after you have completed these steps, assign a final score and write a summary feedback paragraph. By using this framework, you not only get a more accurate grade, but you also receive the distinct feedback points needed to explain the grade to the student. You are leveraging the AI not just for the destination, but for the journey. 9.2 Setting up permanent custom instructions. Imagine if every time you walked into your classroom or training center, you had to introduce yourself, explain your teaching philosophy, and list the state standards to your teaching assistant. It would be exhausting. Yet, many educators do this with ChatGPT every time they open a new chat. Most advanced LLMs now offer a feature called Custom Instructions or System Prompts. This is a dedicated section in the settings where you define who you are and how you want the AI to behave globally. This context applies to every future conversation you start. This is where you set your default persona. If you are a corporate trainer, you can ensure every output defaults to professional, concise, and action-oriented. If you are a kindergarten teacher, you can set the default tone to encouraging, simple, and playful. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen interface view. On the left, a user profile silhouette is filled with icons representing education, tone, and goals. This silhouette projects a beam of light into the center. On the right, a chat interface is shown where the AI's response is already styled and formatted correctly without extra prompting. A label connects the profile to the chat saying Invisible Context Layer. The style should be futuristic yet clean UI design. Below is a template you can adapt for your custom instructions. Copying this into your settings will save you dozens of hours of typing over the course of a school year. The educator's set it and forget it template. Section 1. What would you like ChatGPT to know about you? I am a job title, e.g., high school history teacher, corporate leadership trainer. My audience, e.g., 10th grade students with mixed reading abilities and mid-level managers. My philosophy, e.g., I believe in inquiry-based learning and Socratic questioning. I prioritize actionable, high-impact strategies over theory. Constraints: all materials must be aligned with, e.g., Common Core Standards are company compliance guidelines. Format preferences: I prefer tables for data, bold text for key terms, and bullet points for lists. Section 2. How would you like ChatGPT to respond? Tone: professional, encouraging, and clear. Avoid academic jargon unless necessary. Response structure: always start with a brief summary, then provide the requested content. Safety: if a topic is controversial, present multiple neutral viewpoints. Correction: if I ask for a revision, do not rewrite the whole response, only rewrite the affected section. Never, do not lecture me on ethics, simply provide the resource requested. Once this is saved, you can simply type "create a lesson on the Civil War," and the AI already knows it needs to be for 10th graders, inquiry-based, and formatted with bullet points. You have effectively cloned your best professional self into the machine. 9.3 Building a personal prompt library. In the Infinite Library chapter, we discuss generating content. Now, we must discuss asset management. The difference between a struggling AI user and a power user is often organization. A personal prompt library is your digital filing cabinet of recipes that consistently work. When you craft a prompt that delivers a perfect quiz or a flawless email to parents, do not let that prompt disappear into the chat history abyss. Save it. Refine it. Tag it. I recommend using a simple tool like Notion, OneNote, or even a Google Sheet. The goal is to strip the prompt of specific content, variables, and keep the structure, syntax. We call these skeletons. The prompt library structure. Category prompt name that skeleton script. By keeping variables in brackets like insert topic, you create a reusable tool. The next time you are stuck, you don't stare at a blinking cursor. You open your library, grab the skeleton, fill in the blanks, and execute. 9 point for few-shot prompting for stylistic consistency. Zero-shot prompting is when you ask the AI to do something with no examples, e.g., write a poem. Few-shot prompting is when you provide a few examples of exactly what you want before asking it to generate new content. This is the secret weapon for instructional designers who need to adhere to strict style guides. If you need quiz questions formatted in a specific JSON structure for an LMS import, or if you need reading passages that follow a specific introduction definition example cadence, you must use few-shot prompting. You are essentially saying to the AI, here is pattern A. Here is pattern B. Now, using that same logic, create pattern C. The few-shot framework. The prompt. I need you to write learning objectives following Bloom's taxonomy, specifically following the style of the examples below. Example 1. Topic: photosynthesis. Objective: by the end of this module, students will be able to diagram the cycle of photosynthesis, labeling inputs and outputs with 90% accuracy. Example 2. Topic: World War II. Objective: by the end of this module, students will be able to evaluate the economic impact of the Lend-Lease Act on Allied forces using primary source data. Task. Topic: your new topic, e.g., Python programming loops. Objective. Why this works: without the examples, the AI might give you a vague objective like students will learn about Python. By providing the shots, examples, you force the AI to mimic the structure, strict condition, by the end, active verb, diagram evaluate, and success criteria, 90% accuracy. Use this whenever the format of the answer is just as important as the content of the answer. It is the most reliable way to ensure stylistic consistency across a large curriculum. 9.5 Automating administrative workflows. We finish this chapter by looking outside the classroom. Teaching and training involve a mountain of administrative overhead, emails, newsletters, meeting minutes, and compliance reports. These tasks steal time from instruction. We can chain the techniques we have learned, custom instructions and prompt libraries, to automate these workflows. The goal is to turn raw data into polished communication in seconds. Consider the newsletter workflow. Usually, this takes a teacher an hour on Friday afternoon. With an advanced framework, it takes 5 minutes. The workflow prompt. Here are my raw notes from the week. Math, finished fractions, started decimals. Kids struggled with placement. Science, volcano experiment was messy but fun. Photos on drive. Reminders, field trip slips due Tuesday. No nuts in lunches, please. Shout out, Sarah J. helped clean up the lab. Task. Act as a warm, engaging 4th grade teacher. 1. Write a weekly email newsletter for parents based on these notes. 2. Include a section called Dinner Table Questions to help parents discuss the math-science topics. 3. Bold the reminders. 4. Keep the tone grateful and community-focused. By keeping a running document of rough notes during the week and feeding them into this prompt on Friday, you reclaim your weekend. This applies equally to corporate trainers summarizing quarterly metrics for stakeholders or university faculty drafting syllabus updates. You have now mastered the frameworks. You are not just generating text, you are managing workflows, enforcing quality through chain of thought, and saving time with custom instructions. You are operating as an engineer of education. Figure mind map, advanced prompt engineering frameworks. Central node, advanced frameworks. Branches: 1. Chain of thought, logic, grading, reducing hallucinations. 2. Custom instructions, default persona, context layer, set and forget. 3. Prompt library, asset management, skeletons, reusability. 4. Few-shot prompting, pattern matching, style guides, examples. 5. Admin automation, newsletters, email responses, time saving. Visual style, clean, professional nodes with connecting curved lines, utilizing a color palette of navy blue, teal, and white. Navigating the gray areas, ethics, integrity, and policy. Chapter 10. Navigating the gray areas, ethics, integrity, and policy. Section 10.1. Protecting student and employee data privacy. Section 10.2. Addressing bias and hallucinations. Section 10.3. Rethinking academic integrity and plagiarism. Section 10.4. Developing institutional AI usage policies. Section 10.5. Teaching students to use AI responsibly. We have spent the previous chapters celebrating the magic of AI. We have seen it generate lesson plans in seconds, visualize complex concepts, and turn dry corporate compliance training into interactive scenarios. It is exhilarating to wield a tool that amplifies our creative capacity so drastically. However, with this accelerated power comes a necessary pause. We are no longer just teachers or trainers, we are stewards of a technology that is evolving faster than our rulebooks can be written. We are operating in the gray areas, the spaces between what is possible and what is right. This chapter is not about dampening the excitement we have built. Rather, it is about installing the guardrails that allow us to drive fast without crashing. Whether you are protecting student data in a K-12 classroom or safeguarding proprietary trade secrets in a corporate seminar, the principles of ethics and integrity are your safety harness. Let's explore how to use AI not just effectively, but responsibly. 10.1. Protecting student and employee data privacy. The most immediate risk in prompt engineering is the accidental exposure of sensitive information. Large language models, LLMs, trained by major tech companies often use conversation history to improve their models. If you paste a student's IEP, individualized education program, or a quarterly sales report into a public chatbot, you may have just handed that data over to a third party. In the education sector, we must adhere to laws like FERPA in the US or GDPR in Europe. In the corporate world, non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, rule the day. The rule of thumb is simple: if you wouldn't post it on a public bulletin board, do not paste it into a standard AI prompt. To navigate this, we must practice data sanitization. This involves stripping all personally identifiable information, PII, before engaging the AI. Anonymization techniques. Instead of using real names or specific identifiers, use placeholders. The AI does not need to know that Sarah Jones from the Chicago branch is struggling with Python. It only needs to know the context of the learner's struggle. Here is how you can sanitize a prompt effectively. Unsafe prompt: write a feedback email to John Smith. He failed the safety compliance test because he didn't understand the ladder protocols in Section 4. Mention his employee ID number 4421. Sanitized prompt: write a compassionate feedback email to a generic employee. The employee failed a safety compliance test specifically regarding a ladder protocols. Focus on encouraging them to review the materials and retake the assessment. Once the AI generates the text, you, the human in the loop, add the specific names and details back in locally, on your own secure device. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a data flow funnel. Top of funnel: raw sensitive data, names, IDs, locations, entering a filter layer labeled human sanitization. Middle of funnel, anonymized context flowing into a cloud icon labeled LLM. Bottom of funnel, generated content returning to the user, where re-identification happens locally. Isometric style, clean vector lines, blue and orange color scheme, professional lighting. 10.2 Addressing bias and hallucinations. We often personify AI, treating it like a smart colleague. But we must remember that these models are essentially mathematical mirrors. They reflect the data they were trained on, which includes the entirety of the Internet. Consequently, they reflect the Internet's biases, stereotypes, and historical inaccuracies. Furthermore, LLMs are designed to predict the next likely word, not to verify facts. This can lead to hallucinations, instances where the AI confidently asserts something that is completely false. The trust but verify protocol. As educators and trainers, our reputation relies on accuracy. An AI hallucination in a history lesson or a medical training module can be disastrous. We must adopt a trust but verify protocol. Spot checks, never copy-paste facts, dates, or citations without verifying them against a trusted source. Bias audits, ask yourself, does this output assume a specific cultural norm? Is it using gendered language appropriately? Prompting for neutrality, you can explicitly ask the AI to minimize bias in its output. Consider using a verification prompt to help you audit the AI's own work. I need you to act as a fact checker. Review the text you just generated. Regarding topic. Highlight any specific dates, statistics, or historical claims that I should verify with a primary source. By acknowledging that the AI is a fallible assistant rather than an oracle, we protect our learners from misinformation. 10.3 Rethinking academic integrity and plagiarism. Perhaps the most heated debate in education today revolves around cheating. If a student uses ChatGPT to write an essay, is it plagiarism? If a junior developer uses Copilot to write code, is it fraud? The traditional definition of plagiarism, passing off another's work as one's own, gets murky when the other is a machine. We need to shift our focus from policing the product to evaluating the process. The failure of AI detection. Many educators rush to use AI detectors to catch cheating. However, research increasingly shows these tools produce false positives, often flagging original writing by non-native English speakers as AI-generated. Relying solely on these detectors can erode trust and harm students. Instead of playing a game of cat and mouse, we should redesign our assessments. We touched on this in Beyond the Red Pen, but here we look at it through the lens of integrity. Process over product assessment. Invite the AI into the assignment. Allow students to use AI for brainstorming or outlining, but require them to submit the chat logs along with their final work. This turns the assignment into a critical thinking exercise. Example policy statement for an assignment: you may use AI tools to generate ideas or check your grammar for this project. However, you must include a methodology section where you explain which prompts you used, what the AI provided, and how you altered or improved that output. Your grade will rely heavily on your critique and editing of the AI's work. This approach encourages transparency. It teaches professionals and students alike that using a tool is acceptable, provided they acknowledge it and add their own intellectual value. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen comparison. Left side labeled old model, a black box where a student inputs a prompt and outputs a paper with a red X over it. Right side labeled a new model, a transparent glass box showing a prompting dash, critiquing dash, editing dash, finalizing, with a green check mark. Infographic style, clean typography, soft lighting, educational context. 10 point for developing institutional AI usage policies. Whether you are a dean at a university or a chief learning officer at a corporation, operating without an AI policy is a liability. Ambiguity breeds anxiety. Your staff needs to know, am I allowed to use this? If so, how? We cannot simply ban AI, the cat is out of the bag. Instead, we need a traffic light framework for institutional policy. This approach categorizes tasks based on risk and permission. Level color description examples. Writing the policy. When drafting your policy, avoid technical jargon that will become obsolete in 6 months. Focus on behaviors rather than specific tools. Instead of saying do not use ChatGPT 4, say do not input confidential client data into any third-party AI system that uses data for model training. This ensures your policy remains relevant even when the next big tool is released. 10.5 Teaching students to use AI responsibly. Finally, we have an obligation to teach our learners, whether they are 15-year-old sophomores or 40-year-old managers, how to be good digital citizens in an AI world. AI literacy is the new digital literacy. If we hide these tools, we send the message that they are contraband. If we introduce them with guidance, we turn them into instruments of learning. The red teaming activity. One of the best ways to teach responsibility is to encourage learners to break the AI. This is often called red teaming. Activity, the hallucination hunt 1. Ask students to prompt the AI about a topic the students, are already experts in, or a topic they have just studied deeply. 2. Have them specifically look for errors, vague language, or biases in the output. 3. Ask them to highlight the errors and explain why the AI might have made that mistake. This exercise demystifies the technology. It proves to the learner that the AI is not a god, it is a text predictor that can be wrong. It empowers the learner to feel smarter than the machine, reinforcing the necessity of human expertise. The human advantage. End every training on ethics with a reminder of the human advantage. AI can process data, but it cannot empathize. It can generate text, but it cannot understand context or nuance the way a human can. In the gray areas of ethics, the algorithm is blind. It is the human heart and the human mind that must navigate the path forward. By establishing clear boundaries, respecting privacy, and maintaining our integrity, we ensure that AI remains a tool for empowerment, not a replacement for connection. The Educator's Edge, AI for Professional Growth and Productivity. Chapter 11, The Educator's Edge, AI for Professional Growth and Productivity. Sections. Section 11.1, Streamlining Email and Stakeholder Communication. Section 11.2, Drafting Grant Proposals and Project Plans. Section 11.3, Using AI as a Reflective Practice Partner. Section 11.4, Staying Current with Research and Trends. Section 11.5, Balancing Automation with Personal Connection. We have spent the entirety of this book focusing on the learner. We have designed immersive worlds for students, gamified corporate compliance training, and navigated the complex ethics of academic integrity. But in the service of others, educators and trainers often neglect their most valuable asset, themselves. Burnout does not usually come from the act of teaching itself. The joy of a lightbulb moment is why we do this work. Burnout comes from the administrative friction, the endless email chains, the grant proposals written at midnight, and the feeling of drowning in data. It comes from the Sunday scaries when the to-do list outweighs the hours in the day. This chapter is about reclaiming your time and mental energy. We are shifting the focus from AI for teaching to AI for the teacher. Here, we treat large language models, LLMs, not just as curriculum designers, but as executive assistants, career coaches, and research analysts. This is your edge, the ability to automate the drudgery so you can reinvest your energy into connection and growth. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a split-screen composition. On the left, the old way, a desk cluttered with stacks of paper, a cold cup of coffee, and a clock showing 11 p.m., illuminated by a harsh desk lamp. On the right, the AI Edge, a clean, modern workspace with a laptop displaying a streamlined dashboard, natural sunlight streaming in, and a steaming cup of tea, representing calm productivity. The style should be realistic digital art with warm, inviting lighting on the right side. 11.1 Streamlining Email and Stakeholder Communication. The modern educator is also a public relations manager. Whether it is de-escalating a conflict with a concerned parent or negotiating scope creep with a corporate client, communication consumes a massive portion of our day. The mental load of finding that perfect polite tone for a difficult message is exhausting. AI excels at tone calibration. It does not have an ego, and it does not get defensive. You can vent your frustration into a raw draft and ask the AI to act as a diplomatic filter. This allows you to process your emotions without risking your professional reputation. However, the goal isn't to sound robotic. It is to create a template that you can quickly personalize. By defining the specific outcome you want, clarity, empathy, or firm boundaries, you can reduce a 20-minute drafting session into a 2-minute review. Prompt strategy, the tone shift protocol. Use this prompt when you need to send a difficult email but your current emotional state is not customer service ready. Role: the expert communications director. Context: I need to reply to a parent-client manager who is upset about specific issue, e.g., a grade, a project deadline, a training outcome. MY draft: raw thoughts. I can't believe you're asking for this change now. The deadline was 2 weeks ago, and we agreed on the scope. I can't just magically make more time. Task: rewrite my draft into a professional, firm, but polite email. Constraints. 1. Acknowledge their frustration without accepting blame. 2. Reference the original agreement syllabus diplomatically. 3. Offer one specific solution or compromise. 4. Keep it under 150 words. Tone: empathetic but authoritative. Table 11.1 Common communication scenarios. Scenario goal: AI prompt angle. 11.2 Drafting grant proposals and project plans. For many educators and non-profit trainers, funding is a constant hurdle. We have brilliant ideas for classroom technology or community workshops, but the grant writing process is a bureaucratic maze. The specific bureaucracies required to win funding is a language of its own. AI is a pattern matching engine, making it exceptionally good at mimicking the specific language required by grant applications or corporate project charters. It can take your rough bullet points of passion and translate them into deliverables, KPIs, and pedagogical impact statements. This does not mean you fake the content. You provide the innovation and the strategy, the AI provides the structure. This turns a week-long writing slog into an afternoon of editing and refining. Prompt strategy, the grant writer persona. This prompt helps expand simple ideas into robust proposals suitable for donors choose, administrative approval, or corporate budget requests. Role: senior grant writer and project manager. Context: I am a grade-level subject teacher seeking funding for a project name. Target audience: school board, grant committee, a corporate finance debt. Project details. Need: students lack hands-on coding experience. Solution: purchase 10 robotics kits. Impact: improve STEM engagement and logical thinking. Budget: approx $5,000. Task: draft a project proposal including 1. An executive summary, the hook. 2. Statement of need, using data-driven language. 3. Proposed timeline, implementation phase. 4. Expected outcomes, measurable KPIs. Style: persuasive, formal, and results-oriented. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram of a document transformation pipeline. Visual needs to show 3 stages from left to right connected by arrows. Stage 1, a sticky note with messy handwritten scribbles, the idea. Stage 2, a glowing digital brain icon processing the note, the AI. Stage 3, a polished, multi-page document with charts and headers labeled Approved Proposal, the result. The background should be a subtle blueprint grid. 11.3 Using AI as a reflective practice partner. We tell our students that reflection is where learning happens, yet we rarely carve out time for it ourselves. In the rush of the academic year, we move from one crisis to the next without pausing to analyze what worked. Professional learning communities, PLCs, are great, but they are scheduled. Sometimes you need immediate feedback at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. AI can simulate a mentorship conversation. By feeding the AI details of a lesson that flopped or a training session that soared, you can engage in an iterative dialogue. You can ask it to play devil's advocate or to analyze your lesson through a specific pedagogical framework, such as Bloom's taxonomy or Universal Design for Learning, UDL. This practice transforms the AI from a content generator into a cognitive mirror. It forces you to articulate your teaching moves, which in turn deepens your own understanding of your craft. The Gibbs Reflective Cycle Prompt. This prompt guides you through a structured reflection to turn experience into future improvement. I want to reflect on a teaching session I just finished. Please act as a pedagogical coach. Walk me through the Gibbs reflective cycle one step at a time. Do not dump all questions at once. Ask me the first question, wait for my response, and then deepen the reflection before moving to the next stage. Start by asking, briefly, what happened in the session? 11 point for staying current with research and trends. The volume of educational research published annually is overwhelming. Between academic journals, industry white papers, and evolving tech trends, keeping up feels impossible. Yet, relying on outdated methods is a disservice to our learners. You can use AI as a personal research assistant to synthesize dense information. It can summarize long PDFs, extract key methodologies from research papers, or explain the connection between two different learning theories. This allows you to scan the landscape of new knowledge quickly and dive deep only when necessary. Caution: always verify citations. AI can hallucinate sources. Use AI to understand concepts and arguments, but go to the source text to quote or cite specific data. Prompt strategy: the research synthesizer. Paste an abstract or a pasted article text into this framework to extract actionable value. Role: educational researcher. Input: paste text of article or abstract here. Task: analyze this text and provide a summary for a busy practitioner. Output format: 1. Core thesis, 1 sentence. 2. Key findings, 3 bullet points. 3. Practical application: how can I apply this in a classroom corporate training setting tomorrow? 4. Jargon buster: define any complex terms used in the text. 11.5 Balancing automation with personal connection. As we embrace these tools, a fear often arises: am I automating myself out of a job, or is this impersonal? These are valid questions. The educator's edge is not about automating the human parts of the job, it is about automating the robotic parts so you can be more human. If AI writes your newsletter, you save 30 minutes. That is 30 minutes you can spend mentoring a student, having coffee with a colleague, or simply resting so you are recharged for the next class. Efficiency is the guardian of empathy. To maintain authenticity, employ the human-AI-human sandwich. 1. Human: you provide the specific context, the unique anecdote, and the emotional intent. 2. AI: the model handles the structuring, drafting, and formatting. 3. Human: you review the output, tweak the voice, and add a personal closing. By strictly adhering to this workflow, you ensure that every communication, lesson, and proposal retains your unique signature, even if it was assisted by an algorithm. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram illustrating the human-AI-human sandwich. Top layer: a hand placing a slice of bread labeled context and intent. Middle layer: a glowing, futuristic circuit board pattern acting as the filling, labeled drafting and structure. Bottom layer: another hand placing the bottom slice labeled review and personal voice. The background is a warm, kitchen table style with texture to emphasize the blend of tech and organic connection. The path forward. You now possess a toolkit that extends far beyond simple lesson planning. You have methods to reclaim your inbox, secure funding for your dreams, and deepen your professional practice through reflection. As you close this chapter, look at your to-do list for next week. Identify one task that drains you, one administrative burden that keeps you from the work you love. Apply a prompt from this chapter to that task. Watch the friction disappear and welcome the return of your creative energy. Figure mind map, central node, the educator's edge, branch, 1, streamlining comms, subnode, tone calibration, subnode, de-escalation prompts, subnode, template personalization, branch, 2, growth and funding, subnode, grant proposals, subnode, project charters, subnode, jargon translation, branch, 3, reflective practice, subnode, AI as mentor, subnode, Gibbs cycle, subnode, pedagogical feedback, branch, 4, research and trends, subnode, summarization, subnode, concept, synthesis, subnode, actionable insights, branch, 5, the balance, subnode, human AI human sandwich, subnode, reinvesting time, subnode, preventing burnout. Future-proofing your teaching practice. Chapter 12, Future-proofing your teaching practice. Section 12.1, The Evolving Landscape of EdTech. Section 12.2, Strategies for Continuous Adaptation. Section 12.3, Building a Community of AI-Literate Educators. Section 12.4, Final Thoughts on the Human Element. We have reached the final leg of our journey together. By now, you have built custom instructions, navigated the ethical gray zones, and perhaps even reclaimed your weekends through productivity prompts. You have moved from tentative experimentation to confident application. However, there is an unspoken anxiety that often accompanies this newfound competence. You might be looking at the timestamp on this book or the publication date of the articles you read, wondering if everything you just learned is already obsolete. The pace of AI development is not just fast, it is relentless. The goal of this final chapter is to shift your mindset from keeping up to staying grounded. We are not chasing every new update or feature release. Instead, we are building a pedagogical infrastructure that can withstand the seismic shifts of technology. This is about future-proofing your career, your classroom, and your sanity. Figure, extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a lighthouse standing firm on a rocky cliff, representing a pedagogical core, while massive, stylized digital waves, representing tech trends, crash around it. The light from the lighthouse cuts through binary code fog. Cinematic lighting, photorealistic texture on the rocks, glowing ethereal blue for the waves. The evolving landscape of EdTech. To understand where we are going, we must acknowledge that we are leaving the era of AI as a chatbot. The text box interface we have grown accustomed to is merely a transitional phase. We are moving toward multimodal, integrated, and agentic AI. In the very near future, you won't necessarily go to an AI tool to write a prompt. The AI will be woven into the fabric of your learning management system, your slide deck software, and your email client. It will stop being a destination and start being an invisible layer of infrastructure. For the corporate trainer, this means learning experience platforms, LXPs, that dynamically generate content based on the employee's performance in real time. For the K-12 teacher, it means reading tutors that listen to a child speak and offer distinct, phonics-based corrections with the patience of a saint. The skill set you need is shifting from prompt engineering, writing the perfect request, to orchestration, managing multiple AI agents to achieve a learning outcome. You are becoming the conductor of a digital symphony. The shift from tool to teammate. Era interaction style teacher role. Strategies for continuous adaptation. If the landscape is constantly shifting, how do you stand firm? You cannot possibly master every new tool that hits the market each Tuesday. Trying to do so is a recipe for rapid burnout. We need a heuristic, a mental shortcut, to decide what deserves our attention. I recommend the core versus crust framework. Your core is your pedagogy, how humans learn, the importance of feedback, and the need for psychological safety. The crust is the tool used to deliver it. When a new AI model arrives, ask yourself, does this strengthen my core, or is it just a flashier crust? If a tool creates 3D avatars but doesn't actually improve knowledge retention or engagement, it is safe to ignore it for now. Focus on high-impact utility over novelty. Here is a prompt you can use to evaluate new tools efficiently. Instead of spending hours testing a new AI model, ask your current trusted AI to evaluate the documentation of the new tool for you. Role senior instructional technologist. Context I am considering adopting a new AI tool, insert tool name, for my target audience, e.g., 10th grade history students. Task analyze the potential utility of this tool based on the following feature list, paste features below. Constraints 1. Evaluate against the core pedagogy of active learning and critical thinking. 2. Identify potential friction points, login barriers, privacy concerns. 3. Provide a verdict, adopt, pilot, or ignore. Input data Paste feature list or marketing copy of the new tool here. By filtering technology through the lens of pedagogy, you stop being a consumer of tech and start being a strategic evaluator. You reclaim your agency. You decide what enters your classroom or training room, not the algorithm. Building a community of AI-literate educators. The myth of the lone innovator is dangerous. In many schools and companies, there is often that one person who knows AI. Everyone forwards emails to them, everyone asks them to fix the prompts. If you are reading this book, that person is likely you. This is not sustainable. Future-proofing requires distributed cognition. You must build a community where the burden of innovation is shared. We need to move from "I know how to use this" to "we have a culture of using this responsibly." Start by creating a prompt library or a recipe book for your specific context. If you are in a university biology department, a shared document of successful lab report grading prompts is infinitely more valuable than a general guide found online. Figure: extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a network graph of diverse professionals, teachers, trainers, admins, connected by glowing lines of data. In the center is a shared holographic repository of knowledge. The style should be clean, modern infographic style, utilizing vector aesthetics with soft gradients of teal and orange. Consider implementing reverse mentorship. Often, younger educators or even students are more agile with new interfaces, while veteran educators possess the deep wisdom of pedagogy. Pair them up. Let the novice teach the veteran how to use the tool, while the veteran teaches the novice why to use it. Actionable steps for community building. The 15-minute sandbox. Dedicate the first 15 minutes of staff meetings to show and tell a successful prompt. Failure Fridays. Create a safe space to share when AI hallucinated or failed. Normalizing error is crucial for literacy. The Ethics Council. Establish a rotating group that reviews AI usage policies, ensuring diverse voices, including skeptics, are heard. Final thoughts on the human element. As we close this book, I want to leave you with a thought that might seem counterintuitive in a text about technology. The more advanced AI becomes, the more valuable your humanity becomes. AI can generate a lesson plan in seconds. It can grade a quiz instantly. It can even simulate a debate partner. But AI cannot look a student in the eye and sense that their hesitation isn't about lack of knowledge, but lack of confidence. AI cannot feel the room. It cannot share a personal story of failure that makes a trainee feel safe enough to take a risk. It cannot care. The future of teaching is not about competing with the machine on speed or data storage. We will lose that race every time. The future is about doubling down on the things the machine cannot do: empathy, mentorship, and the ability to inspire. We use these prompts and frameworks not to replace ourselves, but to liberate ourselves. By offloading the administrative drudgery and the content generation to the AI, we free up bandwidth for the high-touch, human-centric work that truly changes lives. You are not just a user of technology. You are the heartbeat of the learning process. The tools will change, the mission remains.